the suppression of the use of marijuana and of the forces lurking behind it are the most important jobs this department is now engaged in. In 1930, the records on marijuana in the Washington office of the Narcotics Division scarcely filled a small folder like this. Today, they fill cabinets.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Coloradians, and everyone that's smart enough to listen from the outside.
It's one of the most amazing plants we've ever discovered.
The pot party, the trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
Hey guys, before we get this party started, we were going to do a big announcement, but because we got some cool things coming down the pike, I want to wait before we release that. So rather than releasing the big news, we're going to just do a big kick-ass episode with our guests of the week. We've got Ryan Kilpatrick from Cheeba Chews. But before we give a shout out to Cheeba Chews, let's give a shout out to our sponsors. First off, Callie's Cannabis. For those that are listening, they're also hosting our cannabis dinner this week. We chose them because, as y'all have heard us say on this podcast, they have fantastic flower. So we love everything about them. And they even sell, they play the hits when it comes to the other products on the shelves. And they have 3 locations across the metro area. They have their location in North Glen. They have their location on Larimer Street in the Rhino neighborhood. And then their 3rd location on Kenosha Court, down right off of Federal. So no matter where you are in the metro, there's a Callie's Cannabis nearest you that can get the job done. Check them out. Go to shopcallies.com or check them on Instagram to find out more about what their deals of the day may be. Next up, our sponsors. As y'all know, it's our friends over at Seed & Smith. Y'all hear me talk about it every week. I fucking love this dart pen. It's easily my favorite pen on the market. It doesn't ever let me down. It's got a nice weight to it. You know that thing strokes. We have testimonials on our social media. Y'all see us take those things with us everywhere. We call it Old Reliable. It's fantastic. And the best thing about Seed & Smith is it's not just available at their 2 badass dispensaries. Yes, they have a location on Oakland Street out near Commerce City and their flagship location at 1413 Hecla Way up in Louisville. But you can find an array of their products all across the metro. So go to www.seedandsmith.com to see where you can pick up not only their dart pen and their dart cartridges, but they've got the 510s, they've got the concentrates, and they have award-winning flower also. If you don't believe me, they do tours of their damn grow every single day of the week, and they'll prove it to you. So just go check them out, www.seedandsmith.com, to see a litany of all the products they offer, but also where across Colorado you can find those products. All right, now it's time to talk some edibles. All right, guys, it's time for our guest interview of the week. Before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Grasslands Agency for maneuvering all the moving parts and getting this episode set up for us. We're fired up to talk about it. All of our listeners probably know Chris is an edible king. He loves those puppies and he's got a vast knowledge of it. But the best part is our guest today has even more knowledge about it and a new product on the line, our product line on the market. We're sitting down today with Ryan Kilpatrick. I'm going to call him the regional director of Colorado because Cheeba Chews, the company he works for, is no longer just a local brand. So he runs the ship here in Colorado. He works for Cheeba Chews, the edible company. Ryan, how are you today, brother?
Hey guys, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you say that now, but in about 30 minutes, you're going to be like, fuck, this is still going on. So, but
why did I get put up to this?
Yeah, you're going to be mad at the Grasslands people after this. Be like, son of a bitch, y'all locked me in for an hour. My kids are in the car with the windows cracked.
Everybody's screaming.
Yeah, just play, Baby Shark and we'll call it a day. Yeah, but we're excited to sit down with Ryan today. Like we kind of teased in the intro area and with Chris right there, we love ourselves some edibles. And Cheeba Chews has been one of the name brand companies in our scene since I moved here 10 years ago. Chris?
Yeah, dude, I honestly think my first experience, albeit it was horrible, was
I'm gonna talk about
not because of Cheeba Chews, but just because of my first experience with edibles, somebody
handed you a deck of dose.
Yeah,
somebody,
that's what I was going to bring
somebody
up.
gave me one of those like Tootsie Roll type things of the Cheeba Chews. And so I immediately ate the whole thing. And Home Dude
Why
was
would you
like,
not?
yeah, Home Dude was like, that was a quad dose, bro. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I was not mentally prepared for a quad dose. And yeah, it sent me through the roof. Anxiety, just, but
Yeah.
that was a bad first experience, but I love those damn things.
And it's a learning experience, Chris, which we're going to give to our listeners today, because I have some questions. And like I said, like you said, with the Tootsie Roll, and like I said, with it being 10 years ago, they were like trailblazers on the scene. So we're going to ask everything from Ryan, from the nitpicky of when he started and got in the game to these new products, these SKU lines that we're excited to talk about today as well. But before we get into that, Chris, do the honors, get this party started. Let's get to know Ryan on an intimate, personal, sexy level.
Ooh, let me dim the lights.
Yeah. No need.
Joke's on you. I haven't been wearing pants this whole episode.
All right, Ryan. So are you a transplant or a native to Colorado?
I am a transplant.
Oh yeah? Where are we coming from?
New Jersey originally. So
New Jersey.
came here in New Jersey in '99. Went to CSU, sight unseen. Just wanted to get away from New Jersey. So came out here then and pretty much haven't left since.
Yeah. Do you like going to school up in FOCO?
It was amazing. It was the greatest thing ever. I didn't visit the school. I didn't do any of that. I had a friend who graduated a year early. She was super smart and advanced and came out here for CSU for the veterinarian school. And she was like, you would love it. Just apply. It doesn't matter. Just apply. And I was like, all right, fine. Didn't get into the other school I wanted in Burlington. So I came out here instead.
Yeah, well, it looks like you made the right choice.
Yeah, he's a little fish baby, it sounds like. At the same time, that's a ballsy play. This girl sounds like she's a smart person. You know, she went out there to go to veterinarian school. You're like, fuck it. I just want to get out of pork roll city. You know, like
Seriously.
that's an interesting time. And it's probably a shift a little bit in the vibe, because obviously Denver and Boulder are a little bit more urban, but FOCO was, at least in '99, was probably pretty still rural.
Oh man, I drove out here, and when I got off the exit off the highway back then, 22 years ago, whatever it was, I got off at the Prospect exit, and back then there was nothing. It was farms. There was nothing there. I think now there's like a little visitor center there maybe, but there was literally nothing. So in my head, I'm like, what did I get myself into? Where am I? Where is this town? And eventually, like an hour later, I found Old Town and like meandered into it and was like, okay, this is what I was expecting.
Thank God.
Getting off at Prospect, it was a little rough.
All right, so for our listeners who love FOCO, where was your favorite spot during college in Fort Collins?
And is it still there?
Pickle Barrel. Yes.
Okay.
Pickle Barrel is the easy go-to right across the street, serving you know, back then they had like 4 or 5 craft beers on tap when there were only 5 or 6 craft beers around. So it was a great place to go.
What was the weed game back in '99 at CSU?
$50 ace, man. Kind Bud. That was it. Everything was Kind Bud. I remember one time in the dorm, somebody tried to sell me this like really dry, hard, compact brickweed, and I had to go, you're in the wrong place. Nobody here is going to buy that. You should just go someplace else. Yeah.
Welcome to my and Kip's upbringing. We all got brickweed in Alabama, Mississippi. That was just about it.
Hey.
Yeah, well, that's New Jersey too, for the most part.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Y'all were
bit older.
snorting cocaine at like 11 years old. Don't you know y'all grow up much faster in the Northeast? We're a little slow down in the South.
It tends to happen, yes.
And to be fair, as someone who also went to an agricultural school, but also cheers for his rightful school, Chris cannot say the same. By being in a natural area with all the farmland, it may have, sus weed, excellent mushrooms.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
They had to start putting lye across the field. And they're like, we've lied this field. Do not eat the mushrooms out of this agricultural park. We'll try it. Yeah.
Don't worry. We'll see what happens. I got a book. It's fine. It tells me what to do.
Yeah. Squeeze it if it's purple. Yeah. Well, okay, so Ryan, when you went to Colorado State, you obviously fell in love with the community and the scene and Colorado itself. What did you go to school for? Did you go to be a partier to find yourself working for one of the largest edible companies in the country 20 years later? Was there a weed
No.
bachelor degree back then?
No. It would have been great if there was.
I was pre-vet.
I was a psych major. I thought I would help people. I thought I would, help people better themselves. And then, then I didn't.
You realized that was a crock of shit, so you got into a real field.
I realized that was a crock of shit. Didn't want to extend my college time in college any longer than the 4 years that I was prescribed to be there. So I saw it through to the end and got out as quickly as possible, and then went back and got a master's.
Hey, Chris meet Ryan, Ryan meet Chris.
We're cut from the same cloth. I went back and got a master's that I don't use anymore either. They don't tell you about that.
No. The master's I used, it got me my first real job that then parlayed into the other things where I'm at now. So I'd say it was worthwhile for me.
Okay, so did you get your master's at CSU as well?
No, I did it. I did it through an online school, working and doing the program. But I got an MBA in accounting because I wanted to open a restaurant.
Nice.
So I started down that path and then started working for restaurants and stopped wanting to own a restaurant.
Yeah, good decision.
I love this path you're on. It seems like we really are all cut from the same rug. So, you went to school, you wanted to kind of work in the hospitality or the restaurant scene. You were deterred by that because of the influencers that come in and piss all over the restaurant. And so you decided to get out of that. How did we find ourselves getting into the cannabis scene? Was it a tough nut to crack when you joined the industry, or was it fairly early on?
I have the very fortunate position of being longtime friends with one of the owners here at Cheeba Chews. And when they needed some help a few years back they were working on expanding their licensees outside other states. They were looking to have somebody that they could trust come in and take over the Colorado operations. And that's when I was tapped to come in here. And the reason I was tapped is because I have a background in finance and accounting and business operations, and I own my own business on the side as well, in that hospitality realm. And so all of those things come together to make me perfect fit to be able to help run the Colorado operations for Cheeba Chews, allowing our owner to focus more on the expansion of the brand and other states and other licensees and that sort of thing. So right place, right time.
Yeah.
Yeah, a quick background on Cheeba Chews. So is this so I know it's Colorado based.
Yep.
Were you guys the first to really distribute edibles to the Colorado market, or I mean,
No, definitely not the first, but among the first, and take it with a grain of salt, but I will attest that we were the first good edible.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm sure you will say that, Ryan.
And what I mean by that is back in the very early days when the cannabis industry here was starting in Colorado, a lot of the edibles that were on the market just didn't work. There was a lot of spray on type things. There were all different sort of things. People weren't activating their oil before getting it in there. Our founder started this in his kitchen, essentially at home, with some leftover trim from his medical grow that he had. And just like, hey, what can I do with this? Let me figure it out. And found something that would actually take up the oil really well, figured out that he needed to activate it. And then boom, hey, when I eat this, taffy that I made here, I'm actually getting high, unlike these other edibles.
Yeah, and, real high.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, one thing I feel like not only from being kind of a self-starter, but y'all have grown with the brand with the scene itself. It's not just the Tootsie Rolls that knocked Chris's ass on the ground anymore. Y'all have got, a wide variety or line of products now. When was it that, I don't even know the founder's name. I didn't do that much research, but when do you start bringing in a scientist when you're like, okay, we're on to something here, we've got something. Let's start going from just having one product to 2 to 4 to 10. Was that early on?